What's up, guys? Stefan, S&E's Garage. Today we're going to be messing around with our 2001 Jeep Cherokee. If you look at our fuel injectors, you'll see that they're actually starting to swell and the casings are beginning to crack. And these factory fuel injectors are actually prone to leaking, so we want to address this yesterday because the hot exhaust manifold sits right underneath these fuel injectors, and if fuel gets onto that manifold, bad things can happen. So we're not just going to replace these with factory fuel injectors. We're going to replace them with a Ford 4-hole fuel injector, which will atomize the fuel better and give us better throttle response and fuel economy. So here's the numbers on these guys if you want to write them down, do whatever you want. I'll put them in the description below. I've actually used these same exact injectors on another Jeep that I had with a similar issue. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to pull this fuel rail off. We just have to move some hoses out of the way. We have to move this vacuum hose here. We have to remove the throttle linkage and just kind of set it aside. And then all we have to do is take off the 3 or 4 bolts, 1, 2, 3, 4, that hold the fuel rail on, and we can go ahead and pull it straight out of the intake. We just have to disengage these clips that hold the fuel injectors in, and then we can swap the new ones over. Now, one thing you're going to want to do before you start pulling your fuel rail off is there's a little cap here for a Schrader valve. This is how you would test for fuel pressure on these things. You're just going to want to make sure that you don't have any pressure in this. So you're just going to take a screwdriver and push on this pin here like that, and you'll see a little bit of fuel sprayed out. But what we basically just did is release the pressure in this line. So now when we pull these injectors off, we're not going to get sprayed in the face. So we already unplugged all 6 fuel injectors because this is a 6-cylinder. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, like I said, we're going to go ahead, we're going to move this bracket out of our way. It should be held in with 1 or 2 10 millimeters. Yeah, there's 1, there's 2. Get that out of the way. We can unclip them from the throttle relatively easily, so we'll do that. And then we'll start getting the fuel rail off. Alright, throttle cable and cruise control cable, actually that's probably not cruise control, that's the transmission kickdown cable, are both released from the throttle body. This Jeep does have a throttle body spacer, not installed by me. They don't do anything, but previous owner had it on there, so I'm just going to leave it. Had some spacers here, so yours probably won't have those spacers. But now we're just going to get some PB Blaster. We're going to spray these guys down, and we're going to pull the fuel rail with the 6 injectors off after we remove this hose as well. Alright guys, we got all of our hardware holding the fuel rail off. So now we're just going to take our PB Blaster and we're going to spray all of the fuel injectors where these clips are that hold them on, because we want them to come off nice and easy. So we got them lubed up, and like I said, we got all of our bolts out. So now we're just going to take our pry bar here and we're just going to pry the fuel rail off. It's going to be hard to do on camera, but I'll try my best. It's going to be a little hard because we got the O-rings holding it on for the fuel injectors. So let me get this off camera. I'll show you the O-rings, and then we're going to go ahead remove all the clips that hold these injectors on. Alright, so we got the injector rail off here. You'll see all 6 injectors. This is the worst one. This one is really bad. I popped the hood and I saw that the other day. I said, damn, I'm not putting my kids in it, and I'm not driving it until I fix this, because that's dangerous. So now we got a flathead screwdriver, and what you're basically going to do, it's going to be hard to do this on camera, you're going to put your screwdriver by these clips. Let me see if I can get one here on camera. I'm going to take one off just to show you how to do it, and then I'm going to get the rest off camera. So let's go with this guy here. You're just going to kind of take your screwdriver here and you're going to work this clip off. Be careful not to lose it. Once you get the clip off, all you have to do is take your fuel injector, twist, wiggle and pull, and it'll come right out just like this. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to repeat that procedure for the other 5 injectors, and then we're going to go ahead and install our new ones. Alright guys, we got all 6 of our injectors out. I'm just going to grab one of the new ones here, and like I said, I wanted to show you, you can see that's a 4-hole injector. Now if you look at one of our original ones, that's a 1-hole injector. Now these do have the same flow rating, as these. I forget exactly what the float rating is, but it does match the factory specification, so we are not going to need to tune the Jeep or do anything like that. These are just a plug it in and go upgrade. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take our new injectors. This is the part that goes into the manifold. This is the part that goes into the rail. So we're going to spray this blue O-ring on each one with some heavy-duty silicone spray, and we're going to very gently slide them in, and then we're going to go ahead and put those locks back in place. Alright guys, all 6 injectors are on the rail. Now we're just going to go ahead and reinstall our safety clips, and we can go ahead and put the rail back in the intake. What I am going to do is I'm going to spray the black tips on all of these with the silicone spray as well, so that they do slide into the cylinder head or the intake manifold nice and easily. Alright guys, all 6 of our safety clips are in. I do just want to show you how these go in. They basically lock onto the little circle on the end of the fuel rail here. So just make sure they're all locked in. We're going to go ahead, we're going to snake this fuel rail back in. I'm going to spray these all off like I said. We're going to bolt it in, fire the Jeep up, check for leaks. Fuel rail is in, injectors are all in, bolted on. We're just going to go ahead, reconnect our hoses, reconnect our throttle linkage, and we're going to cycle the ignition on, let this thing prime. I don't want to start it yet. I want to prime it, make sure there ain't no leaks. And as long as it's not leaking after we prime it, we'll go ahead and fire it off. Alright, so we got all of our new injectors in, plugged in. We got our throttle all hooked up. Let's go ahead, grab the keys. We're going to go ahead and cycle the key on, let the fuel pump prime. We're going to check for leaks. So it's real nice and easy. Just turn the key on, like so, and that should prime it up. I am going to do it just one more time, double check the prime. Okay, ignition's on, and we're just going to look for leaks. If it's leaking, it'd be pretty obvious. I was a little concerned about these ones up front because the holes were a little rusty. But I don't see anything leaking, so let's go ahead, get our tools and our spray off of the engine. Let's fire it up. Alright guys, so we let it idle for a few minutes, let it even out. What we're going to do now, we're just going to do what's called a power balance test. We're more or less going to unplug each fuel injector and make sure that all 6 cylinders are firing. So when you unplug an injector, you should hear the engine stumble a little bit, like so. So we know that one's firing. Stumbled, so we know that one's firing. We're going to do this one. We know it's firing. We're going to do this one. Stumbled. We're going to do this one. All right. And we got number 6. And it stumbles. So everything's good. Give it a couple revs. All right. And that should do it. So if you have a Jeep Cherokee 97 to 01 and your fuel injectors are in bad shape, it's definitely a worthwhile upgrade. It's a 4-hole instead of a 1-hole. It'll atomize the fuel better throttle response, better fuel economy. Like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.